All right guys, today we're doing our PVC plumbing skills exercise. You can see this print here is what we're going to be making, and you can see it here. I already have it laid out on the table. First thing I'm going to go over is what PVC we're working with, and right here we're just working with regular. This is going to be for our condensate drain, our furnace drain, anything to just get rid of that non-pressurized trickling water condensation. This here you can see is 1/2 inch. Typically, we're going to be working with 3/4 of an inch out in the field with our evaporator drain and our furnace drain, but we use this 1/2 inch here just because it's easier for you guys to get some practice on and start out with here. How we know that's 1/2 inch is, well, one, you can see the label. Obviously, it says 1/2 inch right there, but if that label's not here, different from our refrigerant piping, we're going to be looking at the inside diameter of our pipe there. You can see that one roughly 1/2 inch right there. Okay, so that's how we know. We're not measuring our outside diameter, it's our inside diameter. Our outside diameter is going to be measured on our copper refrigeration tubing. So this is the PVC project. You can see I got it all laid out here. I already have my pieces cut. You guys are going to have a print that has all your pieces, your measurements, and everything like that. The measurements that are on there, those are the measurements that you cut. Okay, you do not have to factor in how far it's going to slip into the fitting or anything like that. Those are the measurements you will cut right there. This one, top one, right up here, this is going to be the measurement that you're not going to have. So you are going to have to go in until you get to this point as being your last, make sure everything's straight, and then really line up and get that measurement there. So first thing I'm going to show you is just the basic. This is pretty self-explanatory, but just how to cut a PVC pipe. So hopefully I got a marker on me here, and I do. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to get our stick, and we're going to measure, let's see, in this case, I'm going to measure a 4-inch piece here. Make my line with my marker or pen, pencil, that works, you know, temporarily if you're cutting it right away, but it may come off if you have to go back to the truck for something or something like that. But anyways, this marker line, you can see I'm just ratcheting this. This is a PVC cutter here, only for PVC, okay? We do not use this on wire, metal conduit, copper, anything like that. You're gonna damage the blade. So this is just for that soft tubing such as PVC. And you can see I just ratchet, and it cuts it nice and clean. You got a 4-inch piece there. You don't have any burrs like copper where you have to deburr that or anything like that. Now, if you're cutting with a sawzall or a hacksaw, you put it in a vise and cut it. In that case, you're going to have to shave those little burrs off that collect on there. But generally, with the PVC cutter, you got a nice clean cut, and you're ready to get on to the gluing process. Okay, so all of my pieces are laid out here at this point. You guys don't have to do this, but I'm only doing this in a reference so you can kind of see the whole view of what's going on and what's going to be done here. The first thing I need that I don't have is my glue and cleaner. So typically what we'll have, there's two different things. Out in the field, they have a primer and then they have a glue. So you prime it first and then you go and glue it. That's the process there. But our new glue here that we have, which I'll have to get it here in 1 second. This new glue here that we have, this is by Glue Monster, and you can see this is a 1-step no primer. So this has the primer and the glue in it all in one. Okay, now the bad thing about that is it's nice because you don't have to get 2 cans, you only have 1 step. The only bad thing about that is it's a little bit more messy than your regular just glue. Okay, so you got that cleaner in there, which is more thinner than your glue, so you're gonna have a little bit messy. So what you're gonna need to do is you're going to need to dab on the side of that can and get all that off, okay? You don't need all that on there, you just need your dauber right there to be blue. You don't need all of that. Okay, so we have these mats down. Every one of you is going to have a cardboard mat, so we're not splashing this blue all over our nice tables and they're all going to dry and we have to go back and sand them down. So we don't want to do that. typically whenever we're out in the field and we're doing this, what we always want to do is we want to lay some sort of plastic down. We have drop cloths, what they call them, which are big kind of like long moving cloth looking blankets. We lay those down all around, okay? This stuff is very flammable, and it has some pretty intense chemicals in it that can take the paint or the sheen off of different coatings of the floor. Okay, so if you got, all floors generally have some sort of protectant shiny sheen on it. If you accidentally dump this on somebody's tile or laminate flooring or wood flooring, it will make that look hazy or like a matte finish instead of the polished finish that it was when you got in there. So a lot of customers can get mad by that. How we do it is be careful of the process and always lay something down. So the first one here I'm going to start out with, you can see I'm going just about as much as I know my fitting is going to go in there. So I'm about 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch there. So that is my male side, and then I'm going to do my female side here. Okay, so you can see I got some in there as well. And then this first one here, all I got to do is just push it. I'm going to turn it a little bit and hold it. As we move on here, you're going to have to see, this one here doesn't matter because it's my first piece, but as we move along, we're not going to be able to turn them all whichever way we want. We're going to have to make sure that we're perfectly lined up. And I'll show you that, how we can do that here in a minute. Okay, so that's my first one. You can see it sets. It sets pretty good. You hold it on here. The bad thing is you still got some gloop there. Okay, so be aware of that. Be careful of that as you're running your fingers down it or going on to the next piece. And it may still be a little gloopy. Sometimes if you have some drip here, if you see that maybe you put a little bit too much and you have some drip there, what you can do is keep rotating that, okay? That will keep that drip from falling down, and it will all adhere around there and dry up around there, okay? So that's another thing, another little trick you can do. So I got that one done first. Now I'm gonna do my next one. So that's my next piece going in line here. And you can see I'm getting all this off because I don't want to create more work than I have to by cleaning this up. And same thing, putting that amount on there, you're going to see that good amount of blue on there, just not drippy amount though. And then I come through here and I give it a little twist. Okay, just like that. All right, you can see that one. That one's almost actually dried up, so that's good right there. Now, this little 1/2 inch pipe, we don't have to worry about how long we're actually holding in there, like the duration of seconds or whatever like that. The smaller the pipe is, the quicker it's gonna dry. If you're working with some like bigger, like 3-inch, 4-inch PVC pipe, and you glue that, you're gonna have to hold that in there for a while. Because what this chemical makeup does is it actually softens this plastic. So you're gonna have that actually back and back out, back and back out. Okay, so if you ever see that, you're going to know that you're going to have to hold it in there a little bit more. The 1/2 inch, we don't have to really worry about, but once we get to that bigger diameter pipe, you're going to have to hold it in there for quite a few more seconds. So you can see my next one here. Kind of forgot to go over my fittings, but elbow, we all know that. Our next one here is just going to be a coupling. Okay? Just joins two pieces of the same pipe together. All right, that's going to be a coupling here. Now you can see after I do this, I am putting my cap back on here. Okay, I'm always putting my lid back on. I don't want that ever exposed. So after every time, I'm just making my lid, making sure my lid's on real good, you know, at the same time being aware of the time because this glue sets really quick. So when I'm getting that on there, I really gotta, one, get my cap on, and two, hurry up and get my fitting on at the same time, or else that glue will dry and we won't have a good seal. All right, so there, still going straight. I'm not really having to worry about anything changing direction yet. So everything can work a little bit quickly here. Just still keep it in mind. My mess here, I'm just taking my time here, okay? I'm just taking my time. You can see I'm putting that on there. I'll put it on my female there. Get a little turn. Make sure I don't have any drips. If I do, I can just spin this guy around until that drip goes away. And it's gonna dry right there, just like that, okay? Now, this is where we really gotta keep in mind with our 45. because I can turn this to where, whether it goes straight, which is what we want, or if I get this off a little bit, I can make it go up or make it go down, which I don't want to do, because then when I'm done with the project, I got to go in this way or I got to go in this way. So I want it to be perfectly straight. Now, how I can do that is manipulate that is by laying it down on a flat surface. And if I know my elbow's down like that, and I know that my 45 is down also, that fitting is also flat, then I know I'm going to go straight, okay? So you're gonna, both sides, you're really gonna push that down as you glue that in there. Now I'm gonna show you how that's done right now. This is where you really gotta be careful with as your project's getting bigger. All this stuff you gotta be holding and be aware of. But it's one of those things, you just take your time, think things through before you actually go and do it. Now, I can see I was pointing down a little bit. And once I push that down and this down, now my 45 and my 90 should be going directly in line with each other. And you can always put a little piece in here as you're doing it and kind of look. Oh, is that good? Okay, I need to go this way. I need to go this way. And you can always put a nice little practice piece in there that's not glued, and you can really see where you're going there too. That's a common thing we do out in the field. As we're going down the line, we'll stick another one in just because that gives us a better perspective of whether we're going straight or not. Even though we may not use that piece, or we may use that piece. Okay, so everything's straight. You can see I'm laying flat, so I'm in pretty good shape so far. Bring this over to my right side. And then same thing. The good thing here is too, guys, I didn't say this, but you can also put that, a good practice is here to put this over that. So any drips that you may get, you're going directly back into the can. That on there. And then this, I don't want to make sure anything doesn't drip, so I'm just going to kind of swing it around until it dries. Literally takes about that long to dry. I mean, it's already getting solid right here, okay? Just make sure you're pushing it down all the way, because if you don't, that's going to mess up your measurements going all around down the line. It's going to look a little funky. Same thing here. I can practice putting that over that. So any drips that you may see will collect right into the can. Then I got to do my other side fairly quickly. Oh, there's a drip right there. It's going to happen. That's why we have the cardboard down. You can see here, and what I'm going to do is I'm even going to put another little piece in here. So just so I know that that 45 is going straight. Okay, and there we go. I can see here. And just like that, okay? If you wait too long, you're not gonna be able to turn that. So you really gotta keep checking, keep in line. All right, so here's my next piece. That one here I'm not proud of. I made a mess on that one. I didn't take my time during the process there. You gotta take your time during the process. Now you take your time, but then when you're ready to actually put it in there, your male into your female, that's when you gotta hurry up. Okay, you can see I'm already starting to dry my blue here. This is all completely solid, okay? That's all you want there is you want a nice little ring around, okay? Try to not do that. This is gonna help. I'm not wearing gloves, but this is where your gloves really are going to help out there. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and just do my T because we're not gonna have that piece there. So my T, just make sure that you're doing the right one. Then you make sure that's all down straight, just like that. And that T is gonna set in there and you're good. That one there, as I'm getting to this point, I'm just kind of laying it down on the cardboard when I'm gluing it. Okay. You can see here, I got a little bit sticking up. All right, that's probably going to happen. I mean, it happens to me, and I've been doing this for years. So be careful, try to remember that. The biggest thing, what I did there is where this isn't gonna happen, the biggest thing is these two 45s. To really take your time on those. That's where it's gonna change the direction of this compared to this, okay? But once we get that tied in and everything over and straight, it's actually gonna straighten up a little bit better. So here, off my plan, I'm gonna look at my plans here. Off of here, I'll finish up this little stub out that we got here, okay? This is where we're actually gonna go in and be able to put our air in there. And we can test this if we have any leaks. In there. Try to keep it on the cardboard. Okay. That guy's good. Just make sure when you put it on that cardboard that it's actually kind of dry, or else you're going to be sticking to the cardboard as well. All right, now I'm going to scoot this guy over because I'm sticking off my mat here. And I'm gonna put this last final piece on going that way. This is my threaded male adapter, okay? My male is my threaded part. My female is the other part, or the socket. This is a common thing that you're gonna see coming out of your evaporator. It's gonna screw right, that's gonna have a port on your evaporator here. And your male threads are going to screw right into that, okay? And then you'll come back with some wrenches and wrench that down. Always come back with a wrench, okay? An adjustable wrench, not like a channel locks or something like that. This is just made of plastic. So your little nut here is just molded plastic. Make sure you have a nice adjustable wrench or a crescent wrench on there instead of your like channel lock pliers, because what that does, anything with teeth, really rounds that out, okay? And then it's harder to ever get off in the future. All right, and then my next piece here is going to be, and I got some other pieces here, so I'm gonna have to make sure. Okay, that's 5 inches, and on my print here it says 5 inches, okay? So I'm good to go on this piece. Female parts. And then I can turn this way to make sure gravity doesn't make it fall. I want it to just go and fall into that joint. So pretty good there. It's not leaking anymore, so we're good there. Now we can take our ball valve here, okay? Anything in line with that pipe right there is going to be in the open position. Right? That's on all valves. When we go and change this to that means we put a gate there. All right? So that closes that. Now, this is not a gate valve, it's a ball valve. Okay? So it has a little ball in there and it just opens and closes. Opens and closes. And you'll see that. But keep in mind off of this print here, the orientation of the handle of where that ball valve goes. Okay? That's important because if you're sticking this project up like this, right? And you got that ball valve on that other side there, and you're pointing this way. If we mount this on the wall, it's gonna be very hard to access this ball valve. All right, so based off the prints here, the best place to really get a handle on it is just on that valve right there, right in front. And that's how it's going to be on your print, and that's how the direction it needs to be when you're finished with your project. So we will now glue our ball valve on. Like I said, this is where you're gonna have to kind of be a little bit tedious with things and not rush it, because you're getting a lot more parts and pieces in here that is kind of harder to handle your project. Okay, so that looks pretty good. You can see my valve straight up. Now I just need an elbow, which I don't have. So I'm gonna have to go get another 1/2 inch elbow to finish this guy out. Okay, so now I got my 90 here. What that's gonna do is that's gonna come right here on the end. And then once I put this on, then I'll be able to find the missing measurement. And again, I'm going to make sure that that guy is down. I can even put a little piece in there to make sure that we're going straight across, which it looks like we are. And let that guy sit there and dry. Okay, so this one I already have pre-cut. What you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to know that these two are coming straight. This will move on you a little bit, okay? So you may need to get a partner and say, hey, can you hold this for a second? Or unless you can rig something up, probably not. On a wall application, what we could do is we could put a couple straps here and we're good. And then what we could do is when we got to fit a pipe in there, we can undo one strap and then shove it in and then strap it back up. Okay, but here we're working on a table. You guys are probably gonna need an extra hand there. Make sure these are straight, and then you can get a butt-to-butt or face-to-face measurement in there. And then you will see on this one is where you have to see how far it goes in. Based off of your print here, you can see that it's gonna go in 3/4 of an inch, okay? So whatever your measurement is from here to here, you're gonna have to add 3/4 and add 3/4. So to your measurement here on face to face, you will have to add 1.5 inches on top of that measurement to get the correct piece to fit in there. So we will fit this one. This is the final and last piece of our project here. And I'll just put that in here, drip that on there. Now you can see this is on a wall, this may be a little harder to do, but here you can see with this small project, we actually got some flexibility that we can move that around. Okay, so we can get this last piece in here. And this is where you kind of gotta watch out for stuff because you got a lot more tension on it now. Get it in there, and get it in there, and then we put it together for our final one. Any drips that are going to come off are just going off right into there. And then we should be good. Okay, so this is going to be your final project then when you're all said and done. You have the ball valve that opens and closes. Okay, so if we're going through here, well, we're not really going to shut off water to over here because we still got our tea coming and going and wrapping around. Okay, but say this was going to a different line, we could easily just shut this off and still have water going over to this line. Okay, and we got a T here. Remember what this was called? This was our threaded adapter, commonly on evaporator coils. We're going to see this a lot and have to put them into our coil pans. And then we got a 45, okay, and another 45. What happens when we make two 45s? 90 degrees, all right? Add the two together. So we got 45 there, 45 there. We have a coupling that conjoins two pieces of the same pipe together. And we have an elbow to change direction. And then we have another elbow that changes direction as well, okay? Our T also changes direction, but it's usually a branch off line. So that's what's different from a T and an elbow. It does change direction, but it branches off. And that's the important thing that you need to know. So here's your projects here. This is what you guys are gonna be doing. Make sure you try to do this. The slow part comes into preparation, and then the fast part comes when you're joining two pieces together, okay? Because it dries very quickly. Try not to splash all over the place, all right? And also, follow your prints.